And I finally said, yeah, can I help you? He says, are you that guy on Shark Tank? I said, yeah. That had never happened before. He said, you're an asshole.
Unique.
I know.
New York.
I'm having one of those days.
How now, brown cow?
I'm having one of those type of days. Should we record a program?
Yeah, let's do a show.
I just need a thumbs up from that extremely good-looking Italian man, Caleb, behind the camera. He gave me the thumbs up. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Impulsive, the #1 podcast in the world. We have a very special guest today. He's the inventor of the Funyun. He's the doer of triathlons.
Yep.
His claim to fame is finding the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
Unreal.
And he is the Wizard of Oz.
Actually.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Kevin O'Leary.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, but just call me Mr. Wonderful. Everybody else does.
Mr. Wonderful. He didn't do any of those things, I don't think. Unless you did invent the Funyun.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
But, it's still, I like the wonderful thing.
Mr. Wonderful.
Mr. Wonderful. Is that a Richard Mille on your wrist?
No, this is a hot new company. I'm huge in watches.
There we go.
And listen, I don't own any equity in them. I just appreciate the art of making great pieces. Aventi, and they're out of Australia. And I always tell these young watchmakers, listen, I'm very supportive, but make me a single one-of-a-kind piece that I could feature on Shark Tank. And this is going to be this season's. This is a crazy watch. I mean,
and you're not involved in the company?
Sometimes I just want to help the artist.
I like that.
It's just, I've made lots of money, and I want to give back a little bit here. But people know me as a watch guy, and they really look at what I wear, particularly on Shark Tank all around the world. I got the red band, and so these days I got a lot of watches already. And I say to all these makers, look, I don't need another watch. I try and wear 4 a day, and I still can't get through, a 10th of the collection. So I'm saying, okay, great, make me one of a kind. Go to town, make me something really unique. I'll make it famous, and then we'll auction it for charity.
You're a good guy, Kevin.
Hey, listen, I'm happy to do
Mr.
it.
Wonderful.
Happy to do it. But, these pieces, particularly in my classic Rolex Daytona red band, white face steel, that went for $65,000, and it all went to charity. That's very cool.
That is awesome.
What's your favorite watch that you own?
Right now, I would say the Picasso of watchmaking is F.P. Journe. There's no piece I own that has appreciated more in the last 2 years. The guy is literally a living Picasso. You can't, the waiting list is like years. But I started collecting early because I recognized the genius of his dials. Like when you see that piece,
what's it called? I'm going to look him up.
F.P. Journe. Any piece you can get is priceless. And the secondary market's insane. They're selling for like $1.2 million.
Can you give me one? Let me rephrase that. Can you give me one?
That ain't going to happen. I mean, I'm really, this is for me right now, and I love all the pieces I've got, but those things are special.
These are nice. These are nice. It's cool that you got these passions. I mean, it's always interesting to see what people are into behind the scenes, and I can imagine how many watches you have. You have any other passions? Like I'm sure you collect Pokemon cards or something.
Guitars. I got a massive guitar collection. I was a shareholder once in Fender. Never made any money on the stock, but I made a lot of money buying early Strats and Tellys, and those have been great. Try and play as much as I can. All our social media, it's my tracks, because I don't like getting all the trouble with publishing rights and everything. Yeah. So I sit down, I've got a studio, and I just dream shit up. That's it.
You do so much. I was with Mark Roberts this morning.
Yeah.
Our mutual friend.
Yeah.
He's like a stepdad to me, my Miami stepdad.
Tell him what he owns. Tell the people what he owns.
Mark Roberts owns 11 and a plethora of other things, real estate, and he's a business man.
Yep.
And I said, yo, what do I ask Kevin? And so he told me to ask you about your routine.
Yeah, well, Mark and I get up at the same time.
5 a.m.
5 a.m. and I work out for an hour right away. Either I take my bike out on the causeway, or I take a cruise down the beach or something, or I hit the machines. But I'm reading stuff from 5 to 6, and then maybe I do a CNBC hit or something. Tomorrow I'm going to do Good Morning America, but I want to be wired by the time I'm on television. I want to be worked out, and I want to feel healthy. And he's the same way, and we sort of got to know each other around that routine. And I just think it's a good way to live, because you get that time by yourself to do your stuff. Nobody bugs you. Nobody's up at 5 o'clock. I am. And, and I do a lot of work in the Middle East now, and I'm doing stuff in Dubai and Abu Dhabi and all these international investments. And people are work 24/7 anyways. So you can get a lot done.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you reading when you read?
I read research that's sent out to me because my biggest business is financial services. And, we make indexes for sovereign wealth and pension plans. So I got to know what's going on in the financial markets. But, at this conference that we're all at here in Miami, crypto, Bitcoin 2022, for the first time on the first day, I looked out in the audience. It was all the giant institutional investors. They've never come to this conference, never. And I started asking, guys, what are you doing here? And they're saying, we sense the world's changing. We see the policy coming. We see these senators showing up here. We know they're going to make this thing investable. It's going to be huge.
We're going to make it.
Let's go.
Oh, yeah.
We gotta make it.
Are going to
baby.
make it.
Yeah.
I read 20% of your worth is in crypto now, or your investments.
Yeah. I've got 32 different positions on. I'm very fortunate. The way I look at it, and I think the best way to look at Bitcoin is not a coin, it's software. Ethereum software, Solana software, Helium software, Polygon is software. They're software development teams. Either believe in what they're doing or you don't. If you like what they're doing, I like what the guys are doing at Polygon. They're reducing gas fees by aggregating transactions. Why wouldn't I put some dough into that? It makes sense to me. And so I met the team over in Dubai. I said, guys, I got to get a piece of this. And so I'm investing privately in these things. I'm an investor in FTX. I have to disclose I'm a paid spokesperson for FTX as well, along with Tom Brady. That's a good crew to be with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and so it's fun. And I believe in what they're doing. And so to me, this is the 12th sector of the S&P. We just don't know it yet. And in 10 years, we're going to wake up and say, wow, we have 11 sectors. Now we have 12. It's such a big part of the economy.
Do you think it would replace the S&P?
No, I don't think. I think really what's going on here is it's just making the economy more efficient. And now the government's figured that out. When you can be more transparent, faster, cheaper, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And that's really what's going on. You talk about crypto, it's really making financial services and investing easier and more transparent. So, there's nothing wrong with owning some Bitcoin. I think it's like owning a building. It goes up in value.
Brady just bought a Bored Ape. Do you own any NFTs?
NFTs are really intriguing for me. And I know you guys have just dropped something big in the last couple of days. And I think the way I look at it is, let's go back to watches for a second, okay? My biggest problem in the watch industry, if I'm buying a secondary piece, like something Patek made that's out of production, that's 22 years old, how do I know I'm not getting ripped off? Because the chances are I am. There's so many fake pieces out there. If we created an NFT for every watch when it was actually made at the factory and authenticated it with a really high resolution image of the dial, which has tiny imperfections in it, you know with certainty that you're buying the real thing. So I think authenticating collectibles is the way to go with it.
It's already happening. There's watchmakers already working on it.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
It's so funny you say that. Well, I love the physical to digital connection.
Yep.
That seems inevitable and super necessary. And then I was on this podcast explaining this same importance because I bought a box of Pokemon cards that was fake.
You bought a box of G.I.
I bought a box of
That's an
G.I. Joe
outrage.
cards that
That's an
was is an out, bro. How can that happen?
It can happen because somebody wanted to rip you off and they did a great job doing it.
Yeah, and it was verified by a verification company, which is why I bought it. And
you got to know who you're dealing with, because at the end of the day, if you're buying a Patek, the only guy that can authenticate it in the whole world is John Reardon. You got to. He's the guy. He knows. He's the Patek guy. He ran the Patek Museum. Everybody knows, John, check this watch out. It ain't cheap, but if you're spending $150,000, $200,000, $300,000, John's got to check it out.
Yeah.
So and I'm working with him along with some other guys to get the protocol, the white paper down, so that we can modify the secondary watch market first. That's what I'm most interested in. I buy a lot of pieces that I think are really rare, that I really like. They're great investments. And my FP Journe catalog, I want every one of those NFT, because that is going to be. I already told my wife, listen, I want all these watches buried in my coffin with me, and she said, yeah, sure, don't worry about it.
sharp. That coffin's gonna get dug up real quick.
Yeah, right. Everybody at
By
the funeral's
me.
like, nice.
I will be there.
It's a closed casket with like a lock. And we're like, come on.
It's like the pharaohs, It's sort of, that's what they did. You're going to a place where you need a good timepiece because you're going to be there forever.
It's a good point.
I see
Yeah,
what
but
you're
time doesn't
saying.
exist there. So
Yeah, no, it's true.
Wait,
In the afterlife.
Got it.
Let's talk about afterlife.
No clocks there.
You're
No,
still
no.
gonna go to. You're gonna need a good watch. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued by this. What happens? It's just an open.
Well, time is we created that just to measure. It's not an
so
actual.
there's no days there. It's just an always on. Like the sun came up at
Well, I
one
guess
point.
you're
and
always
just
dead once you're dead.
Yeah,
But still, you need
but
a
you're
good
dead
watch.
with fashion now, my man.
Yeah, listen, I'll have more watches than anybody else, I hope.
I'm curious. Did you start wearing the suit before you made a lot of money, or did you make a lot of money because you wear a suit?
Great question.
You know,
That
it's
was
a
a good
great question. And what happened to me was years ago, I was, Shark Tank took off and I was, I wore this suit, this uniform.
Yeah.
And I show up at some show in New York, and it was a daytime show. Maybe it was, I can't remember which one it was, one of the morning shows, right? And I had just, a pair of jeans on and a shirt. She said, where's the Shark Tank suit? And I said, who cares? She said, you can't go out there without the Shark Tank suit. And I said, why not? She said, it'll freak people out. You have to go back to the hotel and get back in the Shark Tank suit. And I realized, shit, there's a brand out there.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Like,
Yep.
and that was the first time it hit me. And she told me something about a Q score. That the networks rate when you come out and you're not you, and there's something different about you. That's not good. They want to know what they know.
Even if it's a level
Well,
up.
listen, for example, the red bands. I got to wear a red band on Shark Tank all
Yeah.
the time now because it started, 7 or 8 years ago. And they want continuity. They want to be able to cut between years and scenes and see the same suit. So I'm the guy that wears the same thing. I got 25 of these suits, 25 of these shirts.
Yes.
And it's just part of who I am. Even when I show up in Dubai, they say, "Where's the suit?"
You're
Like,
like,
I
it's
just got off the
100
plane.
Yeah, and it's 146 degrees out. Like I'm wearing shorts.
It is what it is,
I
and you
can't
got
believe
to
that.
respect it.
I just can't imagine somebody watching like, what the fuck is that blue? Fuck this show.
It's brand. It's branding. It's why I asked. It's because like he is the businessman, and a suit is very easily tied to that. It's like we all love Kevin O'Leary, but Kevin O'Leary in a suit.
Oh my god.
Damn, we had to do some
Do
business,
you lounge
brother.
in the house like watching Netflix wearing a suit?
Hey, listen, I'm wearing Japanese fishing pants. Like they're very colorful. And during the whole pandemic, I would wear.
Can I see a picture of this?
Yeah, you can just go look, see anywhere on social. I'm wearing the suit top, but I have no pants on. So, and I did that for 2 years, and I keep doing it now. Because when you're on TV, I got my own studio, and I'm recording something with whatever show it is. Why should I have to wear pants?
Oh, these are cool.
Oh, those are real.
Exactly.
Oh, these are cool, dude.
That's what you want. Very package friendly. Very, very easy to flow.
Package friendly.
These are sick.
That's it.
What?
That's it, man. I tell you how I learned about these. When I was a kid, my father worked with the United Nations, and we got posted in Phnom Penh, Cambodia. And it's 140 degrees there, and it's 100% humidity. And I also learned to cook. I became a chef there because the housekeeper, Tiba and Dang were the two. One was a housekeeper and the other was a chef. She'd take me to the market at 4 a.m., 4 o'clock, because it was so hot that they had to go and buy the fish and everything else. So we'd hit it was right on the Mekong Delta, right there with the fishermen, and everybody wore those pants. And I said to her, I need a pair of those pants. And once you put those on, you don't go back.
Yeah.
They're just so comfortable. And I've been wearing them my whole life. And also she taught me, the fusion food, they can't use heavy cream and butter because it's so hot. So they changed, like instead of using butter, they'll use lime juice and mango chutney. So I have this big business now called Chef Wonderful on QVC, and I make these dishes. And I got a huge wine business as well. It's sort of, I go on as Chef Wonderful. We sell millions of dollars worth of wine, but I did that myself. I actually can cook, and I love doing it
So sick. How you were able to turn that into a business?
because I love it. I mean, what you want to do is basically do businesses that you love doing. I don't mind getting out there and cooking. Like, that's fun.
I was a chef at Benihana's.
And Five
You know,
Guys.
the biggest
Five Guys,
the
yeah.
biggest mistake,
And illegally at my dad's restaurant, I was like 11. I shouldn't even have been cooking.
everybody makes the mistake of putting too much salt and sugar into food.
Yeah.
You take away the flavor. When they make food the Asian fusion way, they only use natural. If you want salt, you add lime. You don't put salt. You add more lime juice, and it gives it a little ting, and it makes a much fresher salad, much better fish. I'm totally into that. I don't use any salt anymore. I don't put sugar in my food. It's a great way to cook.
That an Aura ring?
Yeah, no, I'm totally tripped out on this stuff. So, Aura Ring, got a Whoop.
Yep.
I wear a glucose sensor, although I'm not a diabetic, because I don't want to spike my glucose. If you want to stay sharp during the day, you got to eat foods that don't spike your glucose. When you hit yourself with 3 teaspoons of white sugar, you're frying your brain.
So like me drinking this coffee right
Very
now.
bad.
Probably.
Fried.
Well, you shouldn't put sugar in it. So I got into this thing. I was doing some work on CNBC a couple of years ago, and all of us, it's live, right? It was a halftime report. And I felt like I was losing my concentration. I couldn't even remember the stocks we were talking about. So I actually went to see this guy named Richard Isaacson. He said, oh yeah, you're spiking out your brain. If you just simply change your diet, you're going to be much sharper. And he was right. And in the process, basically I lost 22 pounds because I don't eat for 16 hours a day. I do this intermittent
You do intermittent fasting?
Yeah, you know what's amazing? It's impossible to do it for the first 3 weeks. Then you're never hungry again. I haven't even eaten today yet.
I haven't either.
I know people
go
that
every day
swear
till
by
3,
that.
4 p.m.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's the only thing that keeps me from becoming more of a whale than I currently am.
So you're doing it too?
Yeah, all the time. I
Okay,
don't,
so
I don't
cool.
eat,
You get the
3
joke.
p.m.
But these things, these track your, I look at my sleep.
Yep.
What you find so interesting, and this is my biggest weakness, is I love wine. But if you drink wine 3 hours before you go to bed, you really screw up your sleep.
Yeah.
You get no REM. And so you got it. The best thing to do is get up in the morning and drink in the morning.
Let's go.
Hey.
He's a dartier. He likes to darty.
Dude, just imagine him 5 o'clock in the morning. Just,
No, I haven't got to that place yet. But the whole idea is reduce the amount of alcohol you're taking in before you sleep. Going back to Mark Roberts, the guy who barely drinks, right?
Yeah.
He gets the joke on that stuff. He does once in a while, but I go out for dinner with him all the time. We hit every restaurant in Miami to check it out.
But you don't spend a lot of time at 11?
Oh man, I've spent some wicked time at 11.
Dude,
the last time I was there, I was having a great time. Thank goodness, no pictures. And then I step outside. It's 7:30 in the morning.
All
That's
the
how it
time.
works.
Every time.
And I go, what the fuck? What happened to me? What I've been, it was crazy. I mean, I got to stop going to that place.
Listen, 11 is
I gotta stop.
11 Miami's an institution. It's an institution.
It is, but you got to get Mark's box. Like that's the
100%.
only way to do it
Yeah.
because everywhere else is way too crazy.
Yeah.
Plus you get a good view of what's going on. It's not really a strip club anymore. It's a cabaret, which I think they're trying to elevate their brand. He gets brand too. And I think 11 started as a pretty, down and dirty brand, but now you're building real estate with the brand and you're going into vodka with the brand. So my advice to him was clean it up, baby. Like if you want a bigger audience, you got to be a little more mainstream.
Hey there, Impulsive viewer. This is not your typical ad. It's not quite an ad, but it's a reminder that I am listing my one-of-one PSA 10 Pikachu Illustrator on Liquid Marketplace. So Liquid Marketplace is the platform that I co-founded that fractionalizes ownership of top-tier assets. So instead of me being the only person in the world who owns this card, we as a collective can own it together. That was really exciting to me in the business side of my brain, like the idea of blowing up a platform that I co-founded and believe in. I will be listing it for $5 million instead of the 5.3 that I bought it for. So I'll be giving you guys a $300,000 discount, which I think is nice because everyone likes discounts. So yeah, liquidmarketplace.io if you want to buy in. It can be a small percentage, a fraction if you want, or a little more if you believe in the card like I do, because I will be retaining 49% ownership of the card. It's one of the features we have for people who list their assets and their items on our site. The sellers can retain a percentage under 50. So I'll be retaining 49% of the card and allowing 51% of it to be bought by the users on Liquid Marketplace. So liquidmarketplace.io to buy in, to co-own the only one-of-one PSA 10 Pikachu Illustrator in the world. Thank you guys. Now back to the show.
You even gave your business advice to Mark.
Of course, I tell him what to do every day. Doesn't always listen, but he's doing.
Are you the reason he's rich?
No, but we're in a couple of deals together. We really are. We invest together in some things. We've got a company called Immutable Holdings that owns NFT.com. They just launched. They're huge.
I'm an advisor. Did you know that?
Yeah, I know that. I
just-
actually talked to Jordan. I mentioned we were going to get together, and I like what he's doing in creating that whole new vision of NFT.com.
Yep.
And when a lot of artists approach me and say, listen, where do I put my infrastructure? Where's my building blocks? I say, talk to him.
Yep.
Like, Jordan Freed is doing the right thing.
Yep.
And I know you're involved as well, but I've also got Mark in that deal. And we got in that one together. We did something with WonderFi, which is a Canadian crypto. We own the entire Canadian crypto exchange license, and we're centralized and decentralized. We're taking that into the Middle East with the UAE and Brazil. We're trying to get, what I'm trying to do on crypto is get the government's licenses, so we're not rogue cowboy guys. So we can work with the government and build regulated exchanges, because that's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, yeah.
next.
And the government loves that.
Yeah.
Sure. It makes
so
their job
UAE,
so much easier.
Brazil,
Yeah.
Switzerland, these guys are advanced. England, the same way. So I think WonderFi will eventually become a giant holding company for all these licensed exchanges around the world.
Yep.
How many different entities, verticals, industries are you in? Because you like everything that we mentioned, you have a company in. You know what I'm saying? Or you have you're an advisor on a board. like you know what I'm saying? Like, do you own any cheeseburger or casual dining?
I actually own a bunch of food companies, but I tell you where I'm going with it. There's a lot of, Shark Tank's always 2 years ahead of the market. The deals we see are coming, right? I saw this one, it just aired, called Magic Dates. So I'm into healthier eating now, and I don't eat a lot of shitty food. But she found a way to actually take date paste and make a very, very healthy snack that tastes sweet, that doesn't spike your glucose. Her sales are going through the roof because mothers want to give their kids healthy stuff.
Yeah.
So I found some strategic investors to join me in the deal. We're going to blow the company up, because one of the great things about being a shark, everybody returns your calls. Like, I could call the head of Walmart and get a call back. And I say, look, let's help this woman. She's a female CEO. Let's help moms buy healthy snacks. Let's blow this thing up together. It's just good business.
Yeah.
And so I'm into healthier foods now. I'm trying to get out of the salt thing. I mentioned that earlier. But I got a lot of deals. I mean, I feel that celebrity, you should use it to help people. That's what and you're doing the same thing. I'm trying to say, look, I'm an entrepreneur. You're an entrepreneur. You can't get your call returned. I can. I'll buy a piece of your company and we'll go into the journey together. And I can do things for you you can't do yourself. That's being, I think, a good investor.
I found Mike on the street.
Yep.
He was literally.
And you
on
should
my
put him
street.
right back there.
Yeah, I was. I still am. I still am. I'm still there.
No, that's not true. But you're absolutely right. Putting people on is amazing, and I can't imagine how good you feel putting literally changing lives.
Yeah, it's great. And look, you can still do business. You can still be an investor, but you got to find things I like to spend my day doing shit I like.
Yeah.
So I have a great woman here, Nancy Chung. She allocates the time. We do so much work. And then we say, what are these things that I don't want to do? Because I don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
That's the whole idea of being an entrepreneur. It's not about the greed of money. It's about the pursuit of personal freedom. I do whatever I like, but I like to do stuff that's, interesting. And so I surround myself with interesting people. I got a great crew. We do interesting stuff. We go all over the world, and we're investors. And, entrepreneurship is not the pursuit of greed. It doesn't work. People smell bullshit a mile away. You got to be transparent.
Yeah. I was going to ask, are you inherently curious?
Yeah.
You seem like you're interested in a lot of things, which I imagine lends itself nicely to putting your heart and soul into these different companies, or at least listening to them.
Yeah. I mean, look, people try and hustle me all the time, but I can sense the bullshit like everybody else can. And so if it's not interesting and it's really BS, and I don't go there. But very often I run into people with great ideas. Like today at the conference, I got inundated with deals. There were two of them that sounded really interesting to me. And so I said, okay, listen, here's my cell number, text me. I'll get my crew to check it out. And my bet is we'll probably invest in one of these things.
Wow.
And that's how you find great deals.
Good but you're willing to hear these people out?
This guy approached me with a fantastic tokenized, gaming is where we're going to go into the metaverse. We all know that.
100%.
And tokens are it. And so I like gamers that get the joke and have figured out a way to tokenize and engage. And this kid looked terrific. And the more I talked to him, the more I got it. So I got a whole team looking into it. And, he wants me to buy a piece of his company. I'll do it.
Was it Phil?
No, I won't say who it is till I finish my diligence, because I promised the guy, he's got a bunch of guys chasing him, but I can do things for him that no traditional venture capitalists can do. And I'm not against venture capital, but they don't have millions of followers. And so there's a direct correlation between market capitalization and social media today. And you're a living proof of that. It's sort of, we as influencers, if you want to call it that, can help bring a company forward by telling its story and investing in it and saying, check this out. And I'm very transparent. I declare all my positions. I say, I invested in this. Here's why. I'm not telling you what to do, but here's why I invested in it. And we can get, blow the company up and help it get its mandate done if I'm a believer in it. That's a strategy.
You're much more patient and kind probably than I am. I will not hear the NFT metaverse pitches and I understand I'm here at Bitcoin Week, but like I just have no fucking patience, bro. Like I am unwilling to hear
I wanted
all
to
of
ask
them.
you about
to
that, but you're
weed
getting
out.
into authentication, right?
As far as like non-fungible tokens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean, you're part of that universe one way or another.
I agree, and it's probably why they're coming up to me because they think I'm probably interested in the universe, but I'm not.
Well, they want to trade off your name. Okay, that's basically why they want to get access to your followers, and that's okay if you believe in it yourself and it becomes part of your investment strategy.
Yeah.
But it's not okay to sell your name for the sake of being paid.
Oh,
that's
for sure.
totally uncool.
For sure. I'm just saying, like, man, the 99.9% of bullshit, because most of it is bullshit. I don't feel like listening to.
That's savvy business. I mean, I totally get that. But you know, when I get approached with product deals, and I do some of them, I ask myself, would I use that product? The only way I'll endorse something is I personally use it. So, you know, when watch companies say, hey, listen, will you endorse my watch? I say, guys, I'll endorse the art of watchmaking, but I'm not going to stick myself with one brand or another. I own all the brands, and I'm happy to be an ambassador of you know, mentorship or whatever. But something like a Start Engine or an FTX where I actually use the product and I've got millions of dollars invested in it, I'm a paid spokesperson for both those companies. I believe in equity crowdfunding, and the best platform is Start Engine. Yeah, I'm okay with that. But I'm also a shareholder, and I disclose it. Same with Sam Bankman-Fried. I like his mandate. I like his parents. I like his family, and I'm happy to be a shareholder. And I like to support him. So, yeah. But everybody knows it's like, I'm not bullshitting anybody.
I want to talk to the entrepreneurs for a second. The entrepreneurs watching this podcast, or anyone trying to start a business, because it's horrifying and extremely difficult.
Yeah.
You've done it multiple times over, and I'm sure you get this question asked all the time, but what's your advice? What's your advice to entrepreneurs out there looking to make a life for themselves with a business?
Get ready to fail multiple times, because that's what's going to happen. And if you can't handle that, don't try. Only a third of people can actually make it through entrepreneurship, because it's incredibly hard. It's not get rich overnight. It's not a Bitcoin deal and all that stuff. The fact is, growing a business is almost impossible. It's going to take years. You're going to have to make mistakes. You're going to have to pivot. And you have this horrible decision about the balance of time in your life. It's best to be an entrepreneur in your 20s. It's very hard to do it later on when you're free to actually spend 25 hours a day working. And, you know, I always tell this story about entrepreneurship. I teach a lot of graduating cohorts of engineers. And because a lot of those guys have deals, and I like to do at Harvard, MIT, all these places. And we'd had a night class a few years ago. I'll never forget it. There's a guy up at the top, and you know, these cohorts are like 600 people, some of these big classrooms. And it's a 3-hour session. That's long, 6 to 9 at night. We're almost at 9. And this guy puts up his hand who hasn't contributed anything all night. You start to figure out who's not doing anything, right, after 3 hours. He says, listen, I got to ask you a question. I said, well, yeah, it's 5 minutes to 9. You're finally contributing something. He says, no, this is a tough one. I've been running this business out of my dorm, and I'm about to graduate. It's a cloud business that provides compliance software for hedge funds that have $250 million or less, which is a niche business. Yeah. I'm making about $5 million a year in free cash flow. And I said, I don't hear a problem. You haven't even graduated, and you've got an outstanding business, and you're doing it part-time. He said, that's not the problem. My fiance came to me today and said that she's going to leave me. And I said, why? Because I'm not spending any time with her family. I don't have any time on weekends. I can't go out to the soccer games with her nephews and stuff. And I just can't, because I'm so busy. And I got to keep my business going. I got to graduate my degree. What do I do? Now the class is like, you could hear a pin drop in there, right? And I said to him, wow, okay, I'm not Dr. Phil, but let me give you some advice here. Which one is easier to replace? The girlfriend or the business? I mean, you got to ask that question. You're making $5 million a year, and every woman in this class now knows this.
I got a buddy who owns 11. I can solve your problems right now.
I'm going to guess that if you can't work this out, you're going to just do fine. And I said to him, the way you got to think about it is she's not the right person. If she's not supportive of this journey you're on, you're obviously going to be wildly successful. You're going to get somebody else. Yeah. Now, that caused a shitstorm.
Really?
Oh, yeah. We didn't end the class for another 45 minutes because we started to debate the merits of how you value your time and what's important to you and where you should decide to be when you're an entrepreneur. You've got to find a partner, a significant other that understands the journey and is willing to support that journey, because that's ultimately how you're going to be personally free one day. So I would have loved to, do a check now, 2 years later, where that guy is now, but I bet you he's making a fortune.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's got plenty of options. So
I actually have a question for you. And speaking of the partner thing, that is a huge thing. My girlfriend supports me. Like if I come home at like 4 o'clock in the morning, she'll have dinner ready for me and she'll go back to sleep. Like,
as long as you're not cheating on her 4 a.m, it's a strange time to go.
Dude, I can never cheat. I can't even cheat on myself, dude. And that's my next question. What happens to a person who has too big of a heart? Because I feel like when I try to hire friends, or when I try to, if I see an employee like keep failing, but I know he's a good person, I know he has the capability, like I feel like my biggest fall and the reason why I'm not where I need to be is because my heart keeps fucking my path up like crazy.
You have to make that differentiation. You've got to put metrics in place. The worst thing you can do is hire your brother, sister, or uncle, cousin.
Who works for you, by the way? Your assistant? Who is that?
My sister.
Yeah.
But by the way, crushes it. She's the only employee that I trust.
Look, the hardest thing to do is get the whacking stick out when you know you have to do it. If you're putting a team together, if you're building a business, you've got to have a discipline of setting goals, achieving them. And if they can't reach them, it's behind the barn, and you know what you have to do. You gotta move on. You gotta move on. You gotta keep your crew tight. You have to make sure that everybody understands what they're doing. And particularly when you're building a business, you gotta allocate as you're building it and gets bigger, and you gotta find good people. I've made most of my money in investments, investing in women. If you look at all these Shark Tank deals over 14 years, 75% of the returns came from companies run by women. They're better at mitigating risk. So I'm already biased at backing women. You see my returns, because they're, that old adage, you want something done, give it to a busy mother. It's true. They know how to use their time. And so I'm a big advocate for that. I'll invest in any idea that I think has merit, but I invest more with women now because I've made so much dough with them.
World of women, dude.
Hey, listen, I'd give money to a goat if I could get a return. Like, I mean, I'm into it for the returns I'm making, but women are very good at this.
What's the most successful investment?
Wait.
I'll wait. How much longer you want me to wait for?
I wanted to ask something kind of just before we.
Is it about women or goats?
Both female goats.
Go.
No, it's just kind of still on this entrepreneur
got
kick
it. Go.
before we
Go.
get into,
For sure.
because I'm
For
curious
sure.
about all that as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm super curious about this.
Yeah.
All right, quick anecdote, little story, followed by a question.
Sure.
I took a class in high school called Design Squad. I was a straight A student.
Design Squad.
Design Squad. All I got were A's. We'd be tasked with these little missions on get a ball from A to Z and make it set off a mousetrap. That was the particular one we were doing this time, and just launch a rocket, whatever. And so I
Got laid in high school for sure.
Just trying to envision
I'm
him
kidding. I'm not
with this
kidding.
Ruth Ginsburg machine. And like, fucking loser.
So are you an artist? Is that what you're trying to say?
yeah,
Okay. So listen, if that's a true story, it's not bullshit. That's interesting.
I wanted to be an engineer. I want to make stuff.
Yeah.
And we only had certain materials, that was the thing. And so I'm 2 weeks into this project. It's due the next day, and I'm realizing I can't set off this fucking mousetrap. And I'm looking around, and every other group could, and I couldn't set off the mousetrap. And I failed the project, and I ended up, because I failed that project, getting an F in that class. And I, throughout the whole process, kept trying to make my thing work and it didn't. And I didn't have the guts to say, fuck it, I need to start over. It's going to be better for me if I literally start fresh. And I didn't, and I screwed myself, and I got to be in that class until my parents came in, talked to the teacher, and had him give me extra credit, and then I got an A. Thank you, Mr. Purdy, for making that happen.
So that's pretty amazing. You got your parents to negotiate a deal. Did they get a percentage royalty on that?
They did.
That's pretty good.
I bought my mom a house.
Yeah.
That's a lie.
That's the right thing to do.
You bought your dad a truck
Bought my dad a truck, which he sold.
for a motorcycle.
Fuck you, Greg. But I just love you, Greg. But it was a actually amazing lesson for me, because I learned, like, sometimes you need to start over if you're failing. Don't be afraid to start fresh. So when should entrepreneurs, if at all, pivot?
Wow, that's a great question.
I have a very simple rule to this, and I tell them all when I invest in them. if you're not making money after 36 months, 3 years, you got to take it behind the barn and shoot it, because it's just a hobby. It's not a business. And everybody says, oh, no. People get so, stuck on a bad idea. They just keep thinking, if I keep working on it, it's going to fix itself. It doesn't fix itself. It was put on your journey to teach you what not to do. That's the whole idea. And if you don't realize the lesson learned, you're fucked. I mean, you're going to spend all your time on some really bad idea and waste it. You got to pivot. And I tell all my entrepreneurs, this one didn't work. I'll come visit you with a good bottle of wine, and we'll just drink it, and then we'll take this idea behind the barn and shoot it.
You spend a lot of time behind that barn?
Yeah, I have. Not every idea works, but the most important thing is say, look, it's not working. Shoot it. And let's move on. Oh, I can't do that. Yes, you can. I'll do it for you.
Like it's a rehabilitation home for old people.
You got to shoot it. You have to shoot it. And then you move on to your next idea. And then you only need one to work.
Yeah.
You only need one. You get a winner, you go through the roof.
Yeah. All right, Mikey. Sorry for interrupting.
No, I was just gonna go back to some superlatives. What is the most successful business you've invested in as a result of Shark Tank?
So the number one exit was a deal called Plated. Okay, 2 guys from New York City started meal kits. Remember that whole thing where a meal comes to your door every day and then you cook it?
Yeah.
That whole idea. And
Blue Apron.
Blue Apron was the big
Yep.
guy at the time.
Got it.
So what happened was the grocers started to see this trend occurring, and they saw that Whole Foods was bought by Amazon, and they went, oh no. So Albertson approached us at Plated and said, we'd like to buy you. They bought it for $340 million. That was a Shark Tank deal. It was only 36 months old, and it had grown dramatically. And so that was the biggest exit in Shark Tank history. And that paid for a lot of my mistakes on Shark Tank.
Yeah.
But there are deals now on Shark Tank, and there's one being negotiated right now. I can't announce it yet. It's actually one run by a woman that's going to be the largest individual winner, because I own a small fraction of the business and she owns the rest of it. It's an extraordinary outcome. And she built something incredible. And of course, we're going to track it on Shark Tank. Shark Tank knows about it, but the deal hasn't been announced yet. We're getting $100 million deals all the time now on Shark Tank.
Wow.
Because the show does one thing. That the real secret of Shark Tank is to understand that it reduces customer acquisition costs for its companies. 100 million eyeballs see every episode in syndication. So people see products and they order it online, and the company paid nothing to get the customer. You want to get on Shark Tank, and more, you want to get a deal with a shark so that you can actually be updated every year on the updates. And that's seen in 42 countries around the world. So we change lives on Shark Tank every day. Now, who knew this is going to get this big? I mean,
You didn't know that
we had no idea. I
No
remember
way.
season 3, I said, wow, we got a dog and a cat watching this show. That's it. Season 4, things exploded because we went into this recessionary period and started coming out of it, and everybody wanted to be an entrepreneur. And then we started seeing huge numbers every week. And I remember the first time that I went into it was at Logan Airport, and I went into the washroom, and my daughter and my wife were outside waiting for me. And this had never happened before. I'm, at the urinal, I'm taking a piss, and this guy, the right, keeps looking at me. And I said, it was uncomfortable. And I finally said, yeah, can I help you? He says, are you that guy on Shark Tank? I said, yeah. That had never happened before. He said, you're an asshole. And I said, why would you say that? He said, because you did a deal yesterday where you took 51% control. And I said, yeah, so what? And we got into an argument about it. And I said to him, look,
You're still
being
Somebody's taking a shit and they're just listening. They're like,
we're
what the
taking a
fuck?
piss at the urinal and just yelling at each other. And I said, look, a lot of deals get done in washrooms like this, but not today. Like, it's my money. I'll do what I want with it. So he storms out, and I learned this later. He says to Linda, my wife, and my daughter, Savannah, that asshole Kevin O'Leary's in the washroom. and she said, I know. That was the first. That was the turning point. That was season 4 of Shark Tank, and then we just never looked back. I mean, things went nuts after that.
Dude, when you find a format that works like that, especially commercially and in media, oh my God,
was
it
really
is the
wild.
vehicle.
It
It
was
is
really
the vehicle for the product.
Yeah.
Well, you literally put yourself in a position where you're like, come to me about your great ideas, and you sit there and millions of people watch you make millions of dollars. Which offer do you kick yourself for not taking?
And it's legendary now. The guy that had Ring.
I saw this one on
my
YouTube
God.
actually.
You turned down Ring?
No, I didn't turn down Ring. Here's exactly what happened, because we're friends now, and he's the number 2 guy at Amazon now. He sold his company to Amazon for billions, right? So everybody passed. He wanted 600,000. I said, okay, listen, your valuation's crazy, but I really like you, and I'll give you the $600,000 as a loan for 3 years. Not an outrageous interest rate, but I want 2.5% of the company, and I want some warrants, and I want some advisor shares and yada, yada, yada. But then you'll get a Shark Tank deal. I'll give you 600,000. He says, no. I said, you really should think about that. He said, nah, I'm not going to think about it. So I would have made about $800 million. We every year to celebrate our relationship, because I've stayed in touch with them because we're good friends now, we meet at the 4th of July on Nantucket Island, and we host this big lunch on the 5th, the morning after the 4th, and we bring our families. We have a great time, and he just grinds it into me every time.
What did he not like about that deal? I'm curious.
He didn't like debt. He was scared of debt. And I needed certainty that I'd get my capital back. It wasn't guaranteed I'd get it back if he wasn't successful. So I said, listen, at least I'm getting a return, and you're giving me a little piece of the company for free to give you support, and you got a Shark Tank deal. He said, I don't want debt. I'm scared of debt. I said, either you're going to make it or you're going to fail. Like, if you fail, I lose my 600K. I'm taking that chance. But I want to be at the top of the cap table when I'm dead. I get paid first. It's not a royalty, but it's interest, and you got to pay me back the 600 in 3 years, which you could have done in 2 seconds because the company was wildly successful. But I liked the guy. But his the valuation was stupid. He was offering like 2% for $600,000. Forget it.
Yeah.
I want 30%.
I have a quick question, because I feel like many people think this about billionaires. 600,000 doesn't seem like that much to possibly lose. Why do you care about getting your money back?
I learned, my mother taught me something. If you ever disrespect money, you won't have any. It's karma. Every dollar I make, I kill myself to make it, and I don't want to lose it. I cry like a baby when I lose $10. Like the other day, I realized I forgot when I flew back from Dubai that I didn't have my frequent flyer number on that ticket, and I lost like $400. So I spent 2 hours calling the airline saying, I want my ticket back. I want my ticket back. I'm crazy that way. Wow. I want value. And I want to respect what my mother taught me about this, that every single dollar is hard to make. And if you don't respect it, you're going to lose it. I don't waste money. I don't do stupid things. Like when I buy a watch, I'm buying it because I think it's going to appreciate in value. And it does. Yeah. I don't waste my dough on crap. That's the way I look at it. So I care about 600,000, and can I afford to lose it? Yes. But do I want to lose it? Fuck no. That's a lot of money. It's still a lot of money. 600,000 is still a lot of money.
Well, it's also a slippery slope when you're seeing that type of deal flow as well, because if you start ignoring, success metrics and just throwing 600K here, 600K there, all of a sudden you're just putting money into anything. And so you probably have rigid guidelines around how you invest your money, and that's what keeps you in those.
It's an intuitive feel. The other day, I split the tab at a very famous place here in Miami. I won't mention what it is. I won't say because I looked at it and I said, wait a second. This is ridiculous. This is just ridiculous. So, and I know the owner very well. So, and I said to the guy, I said, look, before we leave, you got to look at this tab. This just isn't. It didn't intuitively feel right. And sure enough, there was an error in there. They did triple charges for the wine or whatever it was. It's just you get this intuitive feeling when you're getting screwed, and you just I don't like it. Yeah, I don't want to be taken.
Do you think they did that on purpose?
I don't think so. I think it was a valid mistake. But I said, no disrespect, but I'm calling you out on it. I want you to go back. I want you to check out, because I had a whole table. I probably had 25 people at this thing. And I said, there's something wrong here. I just feel it in my bones.
Should have took him out behind the barn.
No, but I wanted to respect his, go check it. He came back and said, yes, it's on us. I said, I'm still paying for the meal. I don't want free anything, okay? I don't want to owe you anything. I just want to be charged what I thought I was going to be charged from your menu. And we cleared it out, and I'm still going to go back. We're still friends. But, you know, don't try and fuck me. Like that's like I have a spider sense about that. And if I find out you did it intentionally, I'll rock your world in a way you have no fucking idea. Don't screw me. It's not a threat, it's a fact.
You just scared
that scared the shit out of me.
I'm frightened.
Like don't try and screw me.
Or it won't be wonderful.
I will not be Mr. Wonderful. I'll bring some interesting aspects.
the barn.
No, I'll bring some interesting aspects to your life.
What is that? Like a machete?
No, you know, I don't need to be liked. I need to be respected. And I do the same for everybody else I work with. In business, I want to respect you. I don't need to like you. Like, I just have to respect you and I have to trust you. It's trust. That's what I'm talking about.
Speaking of respect, what is the most disrespectful moment on Shark Tank that you've ever been through? Or in life?
You know, everybody calls me the mean shark, but I'm just telling the truth. And if you can't handle the truth, the real world's going to bite your ass anyways.
Yeah.
When you leave the Shark Tank, if your deal sucks, it sucks. And the reason it sucks, it's a bad idea. And I'm the only shark that'll tell you, your idea sucks, it has no merit, you're going to go bankrupt, you're going to lose all your money, and now you're going to cry? Like, I'm your best friend. I just saved you. And, you know, some people can't handle it.
It hurts when you're invested personally and you love something. It definitely hurts to get you.
I don't give a shit. It's still a bad idea.
Yeah.
There's stuff you haven't seen on Shark Tank where people, they lose their shit.
Oh, they spaz out.
They should keep that in, I feel like.
They should, but they don't.
That's
and,
good programming.
And they can't take it. And, you know, we have a psychiatrist on set for those moments when it happens.
A psychiatrist?
You actually have a psych?
Yeah, we do.
Throw a couple Prozac
I think producers are smart that way because you've been waiting your whole life for that moment in front of the sharks, and they don't bite. They don't want to invest for whatever reason. It's hard.
Yeah.
And we should give you support. But, you know, you got to deal with it. If you're an entrepreneur, you got to deal with failure. I said that at the beginning when we started talking.
Yeah.
That's what matters.
Can you imagine going in for a Shark Tank deal and you leave and have to go get a lobotomy? They strap.
Listen, we see some incredible ideas, but we also see some dog shit.
I was gonna say anyone come in there and pitch an idea and like you can't say it, but in your head you're like, you stupid
All the
motherfucker.
time. All the time.
Wait,
Well, I do say that. I do, and I say, you know, and it happens sometimes. We let them come back.
Do you do it because it's good programming?
No,
or is this genuine?
I got to be honest with you. You know, we've been doing this for 14 years. There's 20 plus cameras in there. There's all the lights and everything. We don't see that stuff anymore. We're just so in the moment. We're so into the deal, and we start competing with each other if it's a good deal, and we're barking at each other. And you know, we know each other so well that we just forget we're making TV. And that deal might be an hour and 20 minutes long, and they cut it down to 8 minutes.
Yeah.
And you know, Barbara and I sit beside each other, and you know, we don't agree on anything. And the only reason she gets to the set every year on time is I buy her a new broom.
Because she's a wish.
Oh,
I didn't say that. I said she needs a broom. That's how she flies in. It's fantastic.
Do you guys actually have beef in real life?
No, she's we're both great cooks. We meet up at her place. You know, it's fun to have Barbara cook for me. It's fantastic. I like her family. We hang out all the time. Our crews work together all the time. She's really she looks at things differently. She's not into numbers. She's into emotion. So she'll say, I don't care what I'm offering at what valuation, I'm just going to do the deal. And I look at her and say, Barbara, why are you doing that? Let me negotiate for you. You got to stop talking. Like it's just, but she just goes on her own way. That's how it works. I have a lot of respect for that.
no, it was good. It was good. It was good. I swear to God, it was good. No, please. Oh, it was good.
You want me to load up?
I have something.
No, but it was important. It was good.
It's got to be great.
It's important.
Set up high expectations.
Go.
Can I pitch you here on?
Can we do that?
Yeah, listen, it could end badly.
No, I won't, because this is a sure shot idea, Kevin.
Okay.
I'm sure as shit. This ain't going behind the barn, dude. Yeah. All right. Do you have pets?
I did have pets, but I travel so much it's very hard.
Funny you bring that up, Kevin.
Yeah. Okay.
We look at our pets as family members, right?
Right.
Our dogs are like our little brothers, our little sisters, right?
Yeah.
We love them. We like to sleep with them. They run around the yard. We hang out with them all day.
It's a pet product you're pitching me?
Well, it's an infrastructure of sorts.
Okay.
Kevin, when I want to go on a trip to New York City, when I want to go on a trip to Miami, it hurts me that I cannot fly with my little brother, my little sister, my pet.
It's an age-old problem.
It's an age-old problem. Now, of course, the rich people can afford to fly private.
Yes.
But there's a ever-growing upper middle class and middle class that doesn't travel because they can't bring their pets with them.
Got it.
We at Terry Air have started a company. We've started a company where we allow you to travel with your dogs and cats. So we've got a bi-seating arrangement where an owner is able to sit with their companion and travel the way they would like to travel with their little brother, sister, or family member.
I see a problem with Terrier.
Sure.
Here's what it is. If you put, let's say you've got 130 seats, okay? And every second seat is another dog or cat. What a shit show that flight's going to be. Can you imagine what the fuck's going to happen in that airplane?
Of this. Yeah, of course.
I mean, they're going to go nuts in there.
Correct. So we've retrofitted each one of the seating arrangements with a low cabin. So basically, for the companion seating area, it is basically fenced in. So they're not always having
So they're
a
just
sight
barking
line.
at each other for 2 hours.
Well, we like to assume that.
Or are you drugging them to sleep?
No, there's no drugging, but generally speaking, most of the people that fly Terrier have a good way of controlling their pets. So they sit there, the dog.
Yeah, with drugs.
This is my business partner, and we are in this venture together. And
This isn't real, is it?
dead serious. So we've already bought 20 737s that we've since retrofitted.
But we wanted to possibly amend it because we did have this idea that humans would be annoyed of all these animals going crazy on the plane.
Both of you
just
do
sending the
not
animals
give
alone
up.
by themselves on the
Do
aircraft.
not give up your day jobs. This is a really
What do we do with
bad
the
idea.
What do we do with the 20 aircrafts?
Sell immediately.
Well, Kevin, there's clearly a gaping hole in the market.
There certainly is, but that's not to be filled by Terrier.
Well, Kevin, what?
Terrier howls at the moon like a dog with rabies. That is a bad idea.
But okay. So let me ask you a question. I personally believe that dog lovers, people that have pets and want to travel with them, are willing to forego certain luxuries such as peace and quiet. By the way, I should say that every seat does come with noise canceling headphones. We have a partnership with Harman Kardon. Kevin, you're not going to drive this one in the ground. You're not going to bring this behind the bar.
Thank goodness I'm here. Terrier sucks. That is a really bad idea. That is bad idea factor 6.
All right,
it's just
Barbara.
I got one. Okay. Yeah. This is funny though, because that's not real. That's not real.
Well, it was. It had a chance.
You weren't serious.
It sucks. So I knew it wasn't real. It's so stupid. Unbelievable.
This one was real. Kevin,
real.
this
I have a
idea,
real one too, by the way.
this idea that I'm about to pitch you was my big idea in high school. I thought this was going to make me rich. Take me to the moon. I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah.
All right. You like breakfast?
Absolutely.
Most important meal of the day.
Yeah.
You like toast?
Yeah.
Right. Well, you're a busy guy. I was a busy guy in high school. Busy kid. I'd show up to school early to study, and I could never get my meal in time because I also valued my sleep. But I wanted to eat in school. They didn't have meals in the morning, and I thought, how convenient would it be if I could just make some, I don't know, toast at school in a small, single slice pocket toaster. That's right. You could put one piece of bread in it at a time. You could fit the toaster in your pocket, plug it into the wall wherever you go, and just munch on your bread. Make your toast as you please. It'll have slots for butter and jam. And
very bad.
Very bad, huh?
Yeah.
Kevin, as the co-founder of this company,
Yeah.
Pocket Toaster, I have to let you know that buttery toast demographic is a highly overlooked.
You can only get me to howl at the moon when it's really bad. And that you got the howl.
But I made a Google SketchUp. I did a Google SketchUp.
I actually have a PDF of my product. So
I did a 3D rendering. Fun fact, I actually tried to make this. Like I was trying to configure this in my kitchen, and
electrocuted yourself.
The fucking toaster blew up. It exploded in the kitchen. My mom goes, "What the fuck was that?" The mark on the marble from the explosion is still in there today because I was trying to like unwire the nichrome wires. Like I know all the pieces of a toaster, and that's when my dream died. In real life.
I bet.
Well, what we've also found out is that these pocket toasters also double as grenades for modern warfare.
Yeah, I think it would be kind of difficult to get through the security of a school with all the alarm going off. A lot of these schools during that period, during all the bombing and stuff, they put those metal detectors.
So we're 0 for 2.
Yeah. So
Well,
that's a
I can only imagine that our
I need
sailor
some
friends-
confidence. George. Okay,
All
thank you. Actually, I want to zoom in on this.
This is gonna
It's called Bubba Ball.
phones off.
Fuck.
Best.
It's called Bubba Ball. Here you go, sir. You can hold this and admire it. It's my game I'm inventing. And I don't drink,
Yeah.
and I love beer pong. And then I thought beer pong could take it to the next level. These have suction cups, and each cup has a number to it. There's going to be blue cups and red cups. You could suction them as far as you want, and the other opponent gets to put those cups in the position. So the 10-point that your opponent...
I got it. This blows.
Okay.
No. Why does it suck? Why does it suck? Does it suck?
You know what?
I do understand why they call you the mean shark.
If I were you, I'd start drinking. It's all right. That's good. Great Shark Tank episode.
Holy shit, we saw it.
I have you know that this is going to be a ring point 2 for you, okay?
Yeah, maybe. Bubble ball.
Damn.
So I'm completely off the table.
Definitely. That's terrible.
You're never flying terrier, by the way. I don't care how many pets you get. You're banned. You're fucking.
That just shows you how hard it is to come up with good ideas. We have none here today. That's it. Good
Well,
ideas are
actually,
hard.
that's not completely true, Kevin.
Well, that's a real business.
It is real business. And the reason we had you here today is
Bubble balls.
we're looking to get a strategic investor involved from the outside for a small portion of equity in Prime.
Have you
Well,
tried
I
Prime?
don't have any equity.
I
to
haven't,
give you,
actually.
but
Do you want to try some?
Well, tell me what's in it. Is it too much sugar or not?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Kevin.
Yeah.
2 grams of sugar,
Yeah.
10% coconut water, 25 calories. So hydration.
25 calories?
That's it.
Does it taste like shit?
You tell me.
All right, give me the flavor you want me to try.
What's your? You like sweet guy, kind
Sorry,
of
my
grape,
bad.
tropical punch. It's universal.
Let's
Grape.
go tropical. Let's
yeah, there you go.
I love that flavor.
I just want to let you know Bubble Ball's going to rock.
Because this is a really competitive market, right?
Yeah, very competitive. But we're competitive people.
Yeah, and I get it. And so you're putting your brand on this?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, me and my business partner, KSI.
That's not shit.
Jeff is going like this.
I don't know.
I don't know
that
what it
fucking
means. I have no idea what that
do you want
means.
him-
Take off your headset.
Yeah.
Tell them the sale. 3 months. Tell them
Oh, we have numbers.
Actually, that's pretty good.
How is
it
he supposed to get
doesn't
that?
Have that? It doesn't have that.
What do I have to take off my
that
headphones?
bullshit fake sugar aftertaste thing. This tastes good.
Thank you. It's doing very well. I'll tell you the sales.
Yeah, let's hear it.
2 months in, we sold 10 million bottles.
10 million bottles? How many dollars?
Math's not really.
Why don't you
his
say it?
strong
Why don't you
suit.
say it?
$10 million.
Nah.
you said.
I mean, nah.
But,
It's
and how are you getting distribution?
yeah. Walmart, Target, Kroger, CVS, Vitamin Shop,
So
GNC.
they built this business up, then approached you to be a brand ambassador?
No. Started it from the ground.
Really?
Yeah, we worked on it for 8 months behind the scenes.
That's pretty good. Because in this category, getting distribution is everything.
It is everything. That's why it works. We our manufacturer and our partners.
So
are,
you don't lend your brand to this, or people just know your Prime? Like, how does this work?
No. Yeah, well, I'm a co-founder with
But if
KSI.
if I go online and look at the advertising of this, are you all over it?
Yes, 100%.
Okay, so that makes sense to me. If you have equity in it and you're promoting it, and it's an entrepreneurial vision, which it is, and you've achieved that in sales, the thing you got to do with these kinds of beverage models, you got to get yourself to 50 million in sales. Because at 50 million, you're starting to encroach on share of the big boys. And what happens then is they want to buy you.
we're on pace through.
Yeah, but it doesn't work till it's 50. On the way to 50, they're going to do everything in their power to crush you and get you off the shelf.
Yeah.
And so that's what you're going to be fighting. It's such a competitive space because the shelf is completely loaded with competitors and you know who they are.
Yep.
And they don't like dirty little startups like you.
Yep.
But you have a competitive advantage because of your brand. But you've got to run till you're at 50. Once you're at 50, it's very defensible. So you got to get more distribution.
Yeah, we have some amazing things planned. I mean, honestly, we just scratched the surface in terms of what we're capable of doing.
Yeah.
My partner is the biggest influencer / celebrity in the United Kingdom. We still haven't launched there. Those numbers aren't even.
So you're going international? Okay, I mean, I probably focus more on domestic because if you got 10, it's proof of concept. It's hard to get 1 million in this category. People struggle like crazy. But if you can actually break through, and I have to say the product doesn't it tastes good, so you're going to get repeat purchase.
Well, what we're seeing is every single week the sales go up by a drastic percentage.
And is it a health claim you're making, or is it a boost, or what really is the merits of this?
I mean, it is
It's
a health thing.
hydration, right?
It's a very healthy, low calorie, low sugar hydration
'cause
beverage.
right now you're on target with the 25 calories. People are freaking out when they're drinking 160 calories.
Per bottle of Gatorade, 160 calories.
Yeah, I mean, I know.
24 grams of
it's sort
sugar.
And that's when you're trying to count calories, which a lot of people are when they're working out, but particularly in training programs. You don't want to. This is perfect, 25 calories.
So that was the idea. I mean,
when I see 25 calories, I immediately think, oh, it's going to taste like shit. It's going to have that, fake, sugary, fake, long aftertaste.
Yeah.
This does not have that. And I think you're achieving it with just a small amount of sugar. That's it. Wow. So congrats on this. But man, if you got 10, you got to get to 50. And you've got about, I'd say 18 months to get to 50.
50 million bottles?
No, dollars.
They're going to do that in the next like 3 months.
We will hit that in the next
probably.
3 months.
Yeah.
Because the UK, there's another one of him in the UK that may even
you guys are. Well, they know who you are
more.
in the UK.
So
I mean, you they know who you are in the UK.
But this guy is
The
a
guy.
force of nature.
Yeah.
He's
You made an international name in boxing. That's what happened to you.
because of this guy. He's
Really?
my business partner. We boxed. We fought twice, and then we're no longer our enemies, and we're friends and business
I get
partners.
it. I mean, I wanted to ask you about that because most people don't understand the boxing industry, if you want to call it that. It seems to me like it's 95% promotion. And then you end up in the ring where you can get the shit kicked out of you.
Yeah,
Which is high risk on health.
Yep.
So it's a really high stakes game. Would you go do that again, or are you done with that craziness?
It's funny. The answer is yes.
You do it again?
The answer is yes.
Well, how many times do you want to have the shit pounded out of you?
Let me tell you how many times until I have a fucking win.
So a lot of times, my friend.
I'm 0-1-1, dude. My professional boxing record is 0-1-1, which is not great.
So is there a strategy to protecting your brain when you're out there?
Don't get hit.
Yeah.
Be slick. Be slick.
That's
Bob and
not,
weave.
that's not that easy.
It's funny. I just did WrestleMania this past weekend, and people love wrestling. I'm sure the wrestling fans are crazy, devoted and loyal, and it's so much more fun. It's much safer than boxing, and optically, it's just as badass, if not more badass, doing these crazy moves. And so I'm having the conversation with myself. Is like, what do I do? Do I pursue this maybe wrestling career and
100%.
preserve the sanctity of my health and my head?
Well, that seems to me the balance because you've got a brand, you're building a business, you have everything in the world to live for. You can't lose your marbles. Like you got to stay sharp.
Yeah.
So every time you get in the ring, you're taking huge risk. I mean, you're extending the brand. I get it, but one bad punch, and it's going to change your life forever.
Yeah.
Which that's a huge risk for me. I mean, you got to have balls to do it in the first place. But
I might let my brother.
I mean,
do the
I
boxing.
don't think you need to do that anymore to extend your brand.
Yeah.
I think you've kind of ellipsed it already, and it's hard to do. It's really hard to build that franchise and then maintain it because people want to get more content from you. They want to understand the new directions you're doing. And what I found is if you're just brutally honest and people trust what you think and say, it just keeps extending your brand.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'll take a page out of your book there for sure. And
Well, I found my own path. It goes back to a lesson my mother gave me once. She said when I was young, never lie and you won't have to remember what you said.
yeah.
And, I got caught in horrible lies when I was young. Then I said, why am I doing this to myself? I got to stop. So I just tell the truth all the time now. It gets me in trouble, but I never have to remember what I said. It's going to be the truth in a month. It's going to be the truth in 2 years. And I think that extends the trust between yourself and people that follow you.
You have a lot of wise things from your mom and dad.
Yeah, well, my original father died when he was 37. My stepfather gave me a lot of business acumen. But my mother was really into being, independent. And that's what I think is very important.
Do you think that's why you lead more towards women? Is because you've seen your mom do so
Yeah,
well?
maybe. I mean, Lebanese families are very matriarchal. They're run by the women in the family, and your grandmother's a big persona in your family. They always have Sunday dinners. If you don't show up, you burn in hell for the rest of your life, that kind of thing.
It's actually a
It's
fact.
it's a very family-oriented thing, and you don't realize how ingraining that is when you're, 9, 10 years old, but that's what we do in my family now. Like you just kind of goes generation after generation. I try and hang out with my kids every weekend. You know, we get to do it in different cities. I'm going up to New York this weekend, hang out with my daughter and my wife. We're going to go hit some shows and stuff. And,
Cool.
You know, do that.
I was gonna say, what do you do for fun? How do you distract
Broadway
yourself?
is open again. Was going to see that new one with Matthew Broderick and Jessica Parker. He just announced today he's got COVID. So that bums me out. But I'm still going to go to the show. I got tickets.
Yeah.
So, but,
yeah. You ever go fishing? In your
I
Japanese
do.
fishing?
I love fishing. But, you know, it's a lot of people don't know when you go fishing out in the ocean, a lot of people get seasick. So you got to know that the crew you're going out with have done this before. Because if you lose sight of land, if you're going out for big game, you're going to be out in the middle of the ocean with the rollers. I can handle it, but a lot of people can't.
I can't.
Yeah. So then I go out with maybe one other person that I've done it with before. We go straight out for miles. And when you get a big one, it's an incredible experience.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta let it go, but it's worth taking a picture.
For sure.
But that's the answer.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Sure.
What's your skincare routine look like? You have incredible fucking skin, dude.
You know,
Like,
it's
just fantastic.
Lebanese have dark skin, and it helps. My mother, you know, never aged. It was amazing. She looked terrific.
Did she age quick and then stopped aging? Because like Middle Easterns, bro, I looked 45 at the age of five or six, but I just stopped.
She taught me something years ago. Say, stay out of the sun. Like, you know, really don't fry yourself in the sun. You get
She
skin
doesn't know
damage
Liver
doing
King.
that. And I've always tried to avoid that. You know, listen, I don't want to fry the dome. I got to make sure that it's covered all the time.
Yeah.
So the dome of desire is well taken care of. That's it.
You know your IQ?
I don't. I really don't. You know,
You think it's important?
I don't think so. I mean, I think everyday life tests you. And,
Yeah.
you know, I had dyslexia and I still do. And, you know, it held me back. I couldn't read and I was falling back in school. But dyslexia is a weird thing. I can read a book upside down in a mirror. Like, that's very strange.
What?
Like, it's a superpower. That's how they told me and said, stop feeling bad about yourself. Just start reading the books in a mirror upside down. And
You ever
so
try that, Georgie?
It's
I know, yeah, I'm being serious.
you know,
That's the
it's a crazy thing to do, but you can eventually you get over those things. You figure out how to deal with them.
dyslexia. I have it really bad,
Yeah.
extremely bad. Actually, it's I'm believe it or not, it's the first time I'm actually admitting this. I'm writing a book,
Yeah.
and the reason I'm writing the book is because it's like a self-help book, spirituality wise, and the first page is dedicated to the devil, because
Really?
in the second grade, I completely dismissed me ever reading or writing. It was traumatizing, scaring. I'd pass out
Because
if I
you
even had to
couldn't
read.
do
in
it
front of-
'cause of
yeah,
dyslexia.
there was a game called Popcorn,
Yeah.
where they would go popcorn Mike, and Mike has to read. Till this day, if I hear the word popcorn, I literally, my stomach drops, because like every kid would
But
do
you
it to
got
beat
over
the
it,
shit
I
out of me.
assume, right?
Recently,
Yeah.
I got over it, and the reason I dedicated it to him is because I truly believe that this book that I'm going to be putting out to help people in their weakest form try to find God. I think that in the very young youth of mine, I think the devil did not want me to write books.
Interesting.
And when I met Tony Robbins, I looked at him and I go, whatever he's doing, it resonated with my heart. And I laid up the whole night and I go, fuck, dude, was I supposed to write a book? And all of a sudden I just started writing away. And then I gave it to a few friends to read a bit, and they just had goosebumps all over. And they're like, yo, you have to finish this.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's a very cool story.
We'll have 2 people on this podcast who wrote books. A dyslexic writing a book. Let's hope you have an editor.
Can I ask you, when you were young, did you ever
That was
be
fun.
walking around and all of a sudden the whole world would shift 90 degrees on you?
I'm joking. I'm
Like,
a fucking
you feel
asshole.
lost?
I
You don't
liked
know
it.
where you are?
It's
It's one of the symptoms of hard dyslexia. You just, everything pivots 90 degrees and you look around and say, I'm lost. I don't know. And then it comes back. That happened to me quite a few times.
I had other things happen. My social cues were significantly different than people. So like when people were talking, I like, and this sounds really weird, but I know how to talk to somebody and get them to say things that I want them to say through conversation.
Ventriloquism?
Like
Telepathy.
it's weird. Like I could read
Give
people's
me to
facial.
say something.
George, you're so stupid.
George is so stupid.
There it is.
Try to make.
But yeah, so,
yeah, so-
I actually do have I have one question that it is personal as well. I've met, my biggest fear is, God willing, being very successful and then losing my kid's soul in the process, because how am I supposed to like raise? No, for real, because I've never met, no, rarely, like 1 out of 10 really wealthy people do I see their kids come out to be really
great
well?
question.
Got it.
How do you
that's-
raise your
that's it.
kids
I see.
in a humble light?
So that's entitlement. So let me tell you a story on that one that saved my ass. And, you know, I've applied to my own family. When I was graduating college, my mother came to the graduation. She said, I've got great news. I'm coming to the graduation. But I also have some other news, no more checks. And I said, what do you mean? Because she'd been paying for college and my rent and everything. And she said, the dead bird under the nest never learns how to fly. I said, what the hell does that mean? She said, no more checks. I'm not writing any more checks. You're going to have to figure this out on your own. You know, I paid for your education I paid for you from birth to the last day of college. We're done. And I thought, shit. I mean, because I really had no job or anything. And I had a tough couple of years. I mean, I couldn't even pay the rent, but it worked out and I got motivated. And, you know, obviously I'm pretty happy about the outcome. So when I had my first big liquidity event, when the learning company got sold, it got sold for about 4.2 billion. And there was 10 of us that were founders. So we woke up the next morning and said, shit, we're rich. Like, we didn't even think about it. We came back to work and kept going. But when I went over, that was in Cambridge, and I went over to Boston and saw the lawyers and said, look, I want to set up a trust that basically provides for my kids, because they were like 4 and 6 at the time. And it pays for everything for them until they finish college. And then they get nothing. And he said, what the hell is that? I said, well, it's a way that I can provide for them to set them up in life, but not entitle them. I was taking a cue from my mother's strategy, same idea. And I went home that day and I told my wife I was going to do this. And I sat down with my 2 kids and I said, here's how this trust works. And everything's good until, even if I get run over by a truck, you're good till you finish college. And they went, yeah, that's great, Dad. You know, didn't give a shit about it. They were 4 and 6. So
I can't believe you sat your 4 and 6-year-old.
but I had
when
to
you
disclose what
graduate-
I'd done. Years later, we're still in Boston, and my son is doing really poorly in high school. He is sucking and just not applying himself, and you know his marks are terrible. And the way to look at high school is it's just like a test to get into college. You got to pass a few things. And so one day he says to me, I'll never forget this conversation. Lynn and I were going out to a movie that night, and he says, hey, Dad, one of my friends was telling me about his trust fund. And what does my trust fund look like? And I said, well, I don't know about your friend's fund, but here's how yours works. If Mom and I get run over by a truck, you're good until you finish high school, because it doesn't look like you're going to college. He said, well, what do you mean? I said, well, the trust only pays till you finish college. Then it's done. He says, what do you mean it's done? I said, it means no more checks. And I said to him, the dead bird under the nest never learns how to fly. And he said, what the fuck does that mean? And I said, what it means is you should start thinking about taking advantage of this now, because you're not, and you're not, I don't know what's going to happen to you. You're not even going to finish high school here. And I think at that moment, that the lesson of life, you know, given to me by my mother, he saw the abyss, he saw the darkness, he saw the situation he was in and went, shit, this is bad. And so he knuckled down and he started getting into in what he was into, and he eventually became an electrical engineer. And he was at the top of his class all through, you know, college and right into engineering. And in all these electrical engineering cohorts, they all build a combustion F1 race car and an electric one. And they race them all around the world against each other, because that's how they're learning. If they're interested in electrical engineering, you're building that F1 formula car. And every year, MIT would win, and because they always built the best car. Well, in Trevor's case, he became the captain of the team, and he worked on the software that released the energy out of the battery in a different way, and he beat MIT. And so the Tesla guys came over and said, who are you guys? And he went to college in McGill. He said, we're the McGill team. And he said, you're all hired at Tesla, all of you, the whole team. Wow. That's where he works. That's where he lives, in San Francisco.
Wow.
So
cool.
that's the lesson of the dead bird right there.
Yeah. Applicable advice too. I'm going to do that. Yeah.
Because you can take care of them in health issues, but if you guarantee them a free ride and they never have to take any risk, they won't.
Yeah.
And you'll destroy their lives. It's the worst curse you could do.
Yep.
Everybody knows people that have really screwed up rich kids. And they made that mistake. They just made it too easy for them. It's not going to happen in my family. And my trust goes, in multi-generations. When he has kids, even if they're not married, it takes care of them till right at the end of college.
Yeah.
That comfort that those kids have is such a demon. I mean, all of your drive and perseverance is a result of struggle and desperation
and failure and getting over it and getting up and doing your thing.
I'm not going to mention his name, but we do know who this gentleman is. He was a trust fund kid, and he did a lot of drugs. Then got out of it, and he cleaned.
That outcome is always bad. It's always bad.
Always bad. And I asked him, I go, dude, why would you throw your life away? Why? Like, respectfully, like, you had everything at your fingertips. Why the fuck would you blow it? And when he looked me in my eyes and said, how would you feel if everything you worked for meant nothing because you knew you would get it regardless? And I was whoa.
That's a broken person.
Yeah.
It's a broken person. But drugs never work out. It is a tough.
You don't like weed? Marijuana?
Here's the problem for me. And I'm not going to do the thing where, I inhale, I didn't inhale and all that shit. Here's the actual practical problem with it. It is legal in some states and not in others. So it's a Schedule I narcotic, and I'm not against it or for it, don't care. But there's a law called the RICO statute. And if you transport a Schedule I narcotic from a state where it's allowed to one that isn't, you have breached the RICO statute, which is a federal law.
Kev, yeah.
And wait,
I don't think they're going to bring RICO on somebody for
so
driving over
my
state.
lawyers
That's like
in Washington
the
told me,
Kingpin Act, for
no,
mafia.
the way this came to me is, even with a couple of sharks, we started looking at investing in cannabis. I was really interested,
Got it.
particularly in hydroponic grow labs. So we had a great opportunity in upstate Vermont. It was like a REIT. It was a fantastic investment, 11% a year yield in cash. I love the deal. I sent it to the lawyers. And he said to me, what are you doing? Are you out of your fucking mind? If somebody uses this facility and transports what they've grown over, you could be complicit in a Schedule I narcotic.
What?
Oh yeah.
What does that mean? What happens?
Federal prison, 22 years.
Federal felony. Well, so as of last week,
And I'm not going to look so good in 22 years after being in prison.
your skin will probably still look good.
So all this stuff about cannabis, we got to get it off the Schedule I narcotic.
So as of last week, a bill passed, I believe, House that will make it federally decriminalized.
Okay.
So it's all it's got to do is pass.
There's a lot of
Senate.
medicinal attributes of it. I think have merit.
Yep.
And I think there's a whole industry that wants to get going on it. I can't invest in it till they get rid of that Schedule I narcotic thing.
From a federal standpoint.
Well, the RICO statute's federal.
Correct.
So, and you basically, we had a fantastic deal and I was all in. And when they explained it to me, I said, look, Kevin, you're a high profile guy. If some ambitious state's attorneys want to go after you, they're going to win.
I see now why they said that, because you're talking about the movement of large amounts of
we had a massive hydroponics facility.
So that makes sense.
I was just asking if you smoked weed, man. I didn't think you were fucking pushing it. I was
no
just
way
asking.
on the record I'm going to say that. I mean, forget it.
Oh, okay.
Like,
We'll talk later.
You shouldn't smoke. It's bad for you. That's my answer.
Yeah, don't do drugs. Drugs are
I just
bad.
recently quit.
You know what I say?
Out of me.
Just say no.
Yeah.
Way.
All right, we've taken up a lot of your time, dude. I appreciate you. I really appreciate you
No,
coming
I've
on.
really enjoyed this. You guys are a lot of fun. This is terrific. And congratulations to you. You built a hell of a franchise.
Thanks, man.
You know what you got to think about now, and a great way to part about this, the more famous you get, the more risk you have when you make a mistake. That's the way you got to look at it.
I know.
You don't
kinda
want to
already
get
learned it
canceled.
once.
Like after all this work for what you've built, it must be really hard every day, given the shit you do, to make sure you don't go offside.
Not so much, because I made a lot of mistakes early in my career and my life and was able to learn from them, pivot, adapt, and be better. And so I can safely say I have a very good head on my shoulders, and more importantly, I'm surrounded by people who are smarter than me and in many cases better than me at certain things. And the installation and growth that I've learned because of my failures have put me in a place where I'm really, really comfortable with.
You have to weed out the bullshit that comes at you every day.
Yeah. Well, it's mostly just from Mike.
Well, I'm just, in all seriousness, it's the stuff that can take you down.
Yeah.
And after you've achieved this success, you don't want that to happen. It's so hard to achieve what you've achieved. It's virtually impossible. Everybody wants to try and do it, particularly the base you've built on social. You got to be real careful.
Yeah, for sure.
And every day, you know, I think about it, and you know, it's you gotta stay focused, man. You gotta stay focused.
Yep, absolutely.
And I wouldn't get back in the ring. I think you're nuts. I wouldn't do that.
Thanks, man. I want to win. I want one win.
You know, you
we'll
keep
see.
trying for that, and you're like, you got all this. You're winning already.
Yeah.
Or just take
Go
a
behind
bum.
the
Take
bar.
a bum fight. Take a bum fight.
Take me behind the bar. Listen, I'm gonna manifest this. I'd like to be at Shark Tank one day once I make hundreds of millions of dollars as a shark, a guest shark. I think it'd be cool.
We hear you. That's very interesting. I will pass that on to the powers that be.
Something to think about. But I got some work to do. Let me make some money first. But an under 30 boss,
I think you've made a little money. You can probably afford a couple of episodes of Shark Tank.
I could do it now. Sure.
You know, it's interesting. The guest sharks that I know for this season, because every year we're getting, you know, new talent, are really, really, really different than
Cool.
the past. And so I think the producers are taking some really interesting directions.
Yeah.
And every year is different. Every year is different. And, you know, I think this year's going to be insane. So you'd probably be a good candidate for that. I'm going to throw your name into the bucket.
Thanks, man. Dude, that'd be
You got
awesome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this episode of Impulsive. We love you. We will see you next time. Take it easy. Peace.